just take a few minutes to sit in his presence and let him know how much you're grateful. Let him know how much you are thankful. Because he's been good. Even in the bad time, he's good. Even in the low time, he's good. Even in the wilderness, he's good. Even in the valley, he's good. My Lord. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been in a place where you're just so low, but you still say, Lord, you're good to me? My Lord. Have you ever hurt so bad until you said, Lord, though you slay me, I still trust you. You don't know him until you've been in those places. You don't know him until you've been in that position. I pray that you get something out of this short devotional. I just want to stop by to encourage someone that you may be feeling small. You may be feeling overlooked. You may be feeling ignored. You may be feeling forgotten about. You may be feeling pushed aside. But I come to encourage you this evening, this afternoon, forgive me, that it's okay. It's okay. It looks like you started small. It appears that you're starting too late. My Lord. I come to remind you that God is the giver of time. Stop looking at the clock. Stop listening to those that are telling you it's too late for you. Stop listening to those that's telling you you missed your chance, you missed your opportunity. God is in control of that. Starting small is the title. My Lord. Some people don't know what it's like to start small. Sometimes you start so small, people don't even know your name. They don't even know what you're about. They don't even know what you have or what you carry. You're not even online. You don't even have a website. But it's okay. God is going to make sure that you are found, that you are seen, that you are noticed. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing to be great, to be successful. Starting small. And that's Matthews 25 and 23. I'm going to read that out of my study Bible. Y'all know how I like to do. That's 25 and 23. And it reads as follows. Is it 25, 23? Hold on. 25. Oh, it's over here. I don't know why this always happened to me. Oh, here we go. His master replied, "Well done, good and faithful servant." When you've done it his way, when you started how he told you to start, When you began when he told you to begin. When you moved when he told you to move. The words you will hear is, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. You don't have a whole lot. You didn't have a whole lot. You didn't have a whole lot to give. You was running out. You was running low. But he's saying he's proud of you. He's proud of you. I don't know if that's hair. He's letting you and I know today he's proud of us. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. You are now in that place where God says, I can trust you now with more. Because you didn't allow where you started. You didn't allow where you began. You didn't allow when you began to stop you. Even when they came up against you. Even when they talked about you. Even when they didn't support you. You didn't even allow that to stop you. You showed up anyway. You started it anyway. You opened it up anyway. And for your faithfulness, job well done. Job well done. He's pleased. He is pleased with you. Like something. God is letting you and I know he is pleased. We have been wanting approval. We have been wanting others to say, I see you. We have been wanting others to have our back. But it's something when God says, I see you. When God says, I approve. When God says, I got your back. My Lord, if God truly is your master, our master, we must obey willingly. Our time, abilities, and money. Now that's where you're going to have a problem when you go to talking about God's money. Because people have the attitude that what's in their bank account is theirs. What's in their purse or pocketbook is theirs. So they treat it as such. But let me let you in on something. If God truly is your master, we must obey willingly our time, abilities, and money. Yes, money. I know that's not what you want to hear, but money. It's not ours in the first place. I know you feel like you worked for it. I know you feel like you labored for it. I know you feel like that you've toiled for it. I know you feel like you've worked overtime for it, but it's still not yours. It still don't belong to you. We are caretakers. I know that's not what you want to hear, but we are simply caretakers. Not owners. You will never own it. I don't care if you made your last car note. You still don't own that car. I don't care if you just paid the last payment on your mortgage. That house still not yours. You'll never own it. You're just a caretaker of it. When we ignore, squander, or abuse what we are given, we are rebellious and deserve to be punished. We got to mind how we use, how we abuse, how we neglect what God have entrusted us with. Be mindful. Be careful. Remember, we're not owners. We're only caretakers. And when God speak and say, do X, Y, Z, you need to be doing X, Y, Z. Because God knows how things need to be distributed. And if you do not move how he tells you to move, you can lose what he is allowing you to be over. It's just that serious. Great victories usually have small beginnings. Let me say that again for those that feel like because they started small, there's no way they would ever be successful. Great victories usually have small beginnings. But there is much to do, but there is much to be said for those small beginnings. For example, you may want to have a ministry that reaches the world, but God will ask you to start small. Volunteer at your church and be willing to do whatever needs to be done. He may ask you to start right there. I heard a bishop say it. He knew he was supposed to be a pastor. He wasn't a bishop, I don't think, at that time. Well, I would say he wasn't in operation. He wasn't active. But he said he had a notebook full of messages, but no one to preach them to. But now he's mega. Y'all didn't hear me. You may want to have a ministry that reaches the world, but God will ask you to start small. Volunteer at church and be willing to do whatever needs to be done. You may be praying that God gives you your own business, but God will direct you to start small. Show up for work on time and be faithful at your job you have now. Because why? God is watching you. He's seeing how you treating that job. He's seeing how you respecting that job. He's seeing if you're thankful and grateful for that job. Starting small. You don't know where it's going to lead. You may be trying to figure out how to lose a certain amount of weight, but wisdom says to start small. Cut out sugar-filled drinks and exercise for 20 minutes a day. Sometimes we try to lose weight so fast. We start taking different things. We start doing different things because we don't want to go. We want that weight to drop off so fast. Until if you're not careful, where the instructions may say 1 tablet a day, now you taking 2. So we have to be careful that we don't overdo it. And now we're in such a hurry to get the weight off. Now we laying up in the hospital. So we have to be careful. It's okay to start small. Don't look at where nobody else is at. Don't look at what nobody else got. Don't look at what nobody else is doing. Don't look at how no one else is moving. Because you'll get off track. You'll lose focus. And in this season, in this hour, God is needing his people. God is needing his chosen one to be focused. Because how he is moving, how he is showing up, the doors he is going to be opening, the doors he's going to be closing, you need to be focused. We have a tendency to get so wrapped up in destinations that we never begin the journey. Let me read that again. We have a tendency to get so wrapped up in destination that we never even begin the journey. You haven't even began the journey because you're so focused. You're so focused on losing the weight until you're missing the weight dropping off. You're so busy wanting to open that business, and there's nothing wrong with that. Until you miss the things that happen along the way, the things you learned along the way, you miss those things. That if somebody would come and ask you, how did you get started? You wouldn't even be able to tell them. Because you took so many shortcuts, you took so many detours, and God wanted you to take it slow because God knew there was going to be someone that was going to come behind you, and he needed you to be able to explain to them what you did, how you did it, how you overcame, how you didn't give up, how you didn't throw in the towel, how you persevered. But you didn't want to start off small. It's okay to enjoy the journey. That ministry, you want to go mega. You want to be huge. You want the huge following. You want the influence. But you also need the other stuff that comes with it. When you're rejected, when you're talked about, when you're not supported. I'm telling you, you need all of that. We have a tendency to get so wrapped up in the destination that we never even begin the journey. What is God asking you to do today? Whatever it is, be willing to start small. But whatever it is, be willing to start small and be diligent. Today's thought: if you are faithful and take small steps day after day, one day you will look back and be amazed at how far you have traveled. And that's it right there. God wants us to have something to look back to. But if you took all these detours and you took the easy way, you took the easy route, you're not going to be able to look back and see how far he brought you. And that's what he wants you to be able to do. He wants you to look at where you started at and be like, my Lord, I never thought my life would look like this. I never thought things would happen to me. I never imagined doors like this opening for me. I never imagined that certain doors would ever be closed. But because I was okay at starting small, look at where you at now. Look at the platform you have now. Look at the position you're in now. Look at the influence you have now. Look at the support you have now. Look at where you are now. Because you did not despise small beginnings. Even though it's small, it's the beginning of something big. Even though it's small, it's the beginning of something big. A seed always starts small, but then it grows into something big. What you started, you didn't think it would ever grow. You didn't think it would ever prosper. You didn't think it would ever go to the level where it is now. But look at you now. You're worldwide. I know it doesn't look like it now. I know the naysayers said you would never grow. But that's not what God said. Whose report are you going to believe? Whose report are you going to stand on? That's the question. Starting small is not a bad thing. Starting small, it gives you something to look back. It's your track record. You're able to look and see how far God has brought you. You're able to look back and see how long and how God has been faithful. You get to look back and see how God provided for you. Have you ever been in a position where God had to simply provide for you? Where God has been providing you with rams and ravens? Have you ever been there? My Lord. You don't know him until you know him on those levels. Until you don't know where the money's going to come from. You don't know where the food is going to come from. You don't know where the support is going to come from. And then you get a knock at the door. You'll hear your cash app going off. God will send those that will obey him. Just like the lady I shared that went and paid off that house for that mother, that single mother. She could have been selfish. And she could have said, this is my money. I done worked for it. I done labored for it. I done toiled for it. I'm not taking my money and go do nothing. But because she understood that it was not hers, it was easy for her to go and release it and do what God had told her to do. Why? She understood she was just a caretaker. She knew she wasn't an owner. And in her obedience, that single mother was freed. She was able to let go of 2 of the 3 jobs that she had. Obedience is better than a sacrifice. What is God asking you to do? How is God asking you to move? How is God asking you to show up? Because when you bless, you get blessed in return. That's how it works. I gotta go. I pray that something was said that you was able to receive. That you would look around and say, you know what? I started out small. I started out unknown. I started out overlooked. I started out not supported. But look at me now. Because I refuse to give up. I refuse to stop. I refuse to walk away. I refuse to quit. I refuse to throw in the towel. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at you now. It's okay. Stand in the mirror. Look at you now. Look how far you came. Look how far God has brought you. Look how he has kept you. Look how he has provided for you. Look at you now. God has been giving you unmerited favor. I know he's been giving me favor. Not because I deserve it, but because of who he is. And I'm grateful. And that favor that God has been giving me is going to backfire to the person that the favor has come from. Oh, I already know what I'm talking about. I'm just not up here talking. God is good like that. You're not going to miss anything. You're not going to go without anything. You're not going to lose anything. What God has for you, what God has promised you, it's yours. It belongs to you. Let me get on off of here. You no longer have to look at your circumstance, your situation, where you began, how you started, when you started, how much you had when you started. None of that matters. Because you're going to be able to look in the mirror. And you're going to say, look at me now. They're going to look in the mirror. And they're going to say, look at her now. I remember when she struggled. I remember when she was in that dark place. I remember her when she was in that lonely place. I remember when she used to come on live and didn't nobody really engage with her. I remember when she used to show up and nobody really supported her. I even remember when I overlooked her. But look at her now. Look at her now. Look at how she's flying now. Look at how she's soaring now. Look at how she's moving now. Look at how God has blessed her now. God is good. God is faithful. Be grateful. Be thankful where you started. Be faithful over the little. He's going to bless you with much. Until next time, have an amazing day. Speak life over yourself, over your friends, over your foes, those that gave up on you. They pushed you aside. They said you'll never amount to anything. They said you'll never make it out. They said you'll never make it through. But look at you now. Look at where you at now. Look at your situation now. Look at your circumstance now. You didn't know what God was planning. You didn't know what God was up to. You didn't understand your tears. You didn't understand why they walked away. You didn't understand why they rejected you. You didn't understand why they didn't support you. You didn't understand why they didn't have your back. You was being set up. So God can push you forward. So God can elevate you higher. If those things had not taken place, you would not be in a place where God could elevate you. God is good. God is faithful. I don't have a sad story. I've had some sad moments, but I don't have a sad story because God has been that good to me. And in due time, you're going to understand exactly what I was talking about. Mark this on your calendar. Mark this video on your calendar. The testimony, you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. It's going to be hard to receive. It's not even going to make sense. But to God be all the glory. I went through some things I didn't understand. It didn't make sense. It hurt me to my core. It had me up all night in tears. Because I didn't understand. I couldn't understand the why. I know his word says weapons formed against you won't prosper. But it's who's holding the weapon that hurts. It's who walked away, that's what hurts. The rejection, that's what hurts. But even in that, God has been faithful. God has had my back. God has been cheering me on. God is saying you don't know what's on the other side. God is saying you don't know what I'm getting ready to give you. You don't even see what's coming. But because of your faithfulness, not your perfectness, but because of your faithfulness, this is your reward. This is your reward. The tears, they were being bottled up. And you didn't even know it. Your tears was even important to me. So go ahead and cry. It's okay. Go ahead and hurt. It's okay. Go ahead and feel what you feel. It's okay. God got you. God got you. I gotta go. Speak life. Mark this video on your calendar. The testimony is going to blow your mind, but it's going to give you hope that if he did it for me, he will do it for you. He's no respecter of person. He's not like us. We pick and choose who we want to bless. We pick and choose who we want to support. We pick and choose whose back we going to have. We do that. He's no respecter person. And God said I had to use her. Because when I bring her out, when I bring her through, you're going to know God was with her all along. God had her back all along. God was ordering her footsteps all along. I gotta go. I gotta go. No, God is good. God is faithful. Just like God got me, He's got you. You don't have to worry about anything. Don't worry about how it's going to work out. Don't worry about how it's going to turn out. Don't worry about your credit. Don't worry about what you got in the bank, what you don't have. Don't worry about that. If God called you to it, it's His bill. I said if God called you to it, it's His bill. Just walk in it. Just walk through it. You ain't seen nothing yet. I said you ain't seen nothing yet. I know you think you've seen all there is to see of Sister Yolanda. But I come to tell you, you haven't seen nothing yet. This is just the beginning. What you thought was a small beginning. But little did you know, because I didn't stop, because I didn't give up, because I didn't walk away, He's ready to present me with my reward. I'm grateful, and I pray that you are. I gotta go. Enjoy your blessed day. This is a day you and I will never see again. We have a right to rejoice. Don't allow where you're at and what you're going through to steal your joy. My Lord, He's been good. Until next time, have an amazing day. God bless.